Hi everyone, Manard Warren of Manard Warren and Associates. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the underpinnings of our SPQ GOLD Sales Call Reluctance assessment. There are a number of companies that use our assessment as they're thinking about either hiring or contracting folks to bring on as sales professionals for their organization. And the SPQ is wonderful. It measures 21 different categories, all that have some role in how someone is going to be projected to perform if in fact they're brought on board. With that being the case, I wanted to give you some information in layman's terms and then connect it with some of the important things that are measured on the SPQ. First of all, when you get somebody on your team, on your sales team, and they've got sufficient knowledge and skill to be successful. So they've had some time in your organization, they've learned the products, et cetera, and now you would deem them to have sufficient product knowledge and skill. At that point, it's only one or more of four reasons why that person wouldn't perform satisfactorily. Let me go through those reasons, and I will also connect the dots on how the SPQ measures these things. When it comes to prospecting for new business, the number one most important thing, number one with a bullet, there's nothing close as far as second, is do I have sufficient energy and willingness to focus on prospecting? We call that prospecting motivation, and that is measured on the SPQ. When someone is lacking in energy, motivation, passion, willingness to prospect, their excuse sounds like this: I know I need to prospect, I just don't feel like it today. So that's lack of motivation. We actually call that prospecting motivation. It's the number one thing that's measured on the SPQ that connects to will this person perform for you. Number two, prospecting goal level. Since I'm from the South, I'll spell that, GOAL, goal level. Prospecting goal level, that's to what degree does this person that you brought on board, to what degree do they have ambitious, clearly focused prospecting goals? Because that creates a sense of urgency. What does that mean? It means when I've got a sense of urgency to prospect, I need to do some of it today. Now, when people lack clearly focused, ambitious goals, their excuse sounds like this: I don't need to prospect today. Again, that's the number two most important thing that correlates with productivity of your folks, and it's measured by the SPQ. It's called prospecting goal level. Third thing is something called prospecting goal diffusion. What the heck is that? Well, if you hear folks basically saying, you know what, I'm too busy to prospect today, that means that currently they're suffering from this condition called prospecting goal diffusion, and they haven't prioritized prospecting activities. Consequently, they need to do some priority management, in fact, and everything in their opinion, in the eyes of that salesperson or that advisor, that performer, everything has the same degree of importance. And it is so easy for them to run out of time at the end of the day and basically say, I was too busy today. I couldn't prospect. Guess what? I'll double up tomorrow, which we all know never happens. The fourth thing that is measured is actually a series of 12 negative, somewhat debilitating thoughts that when one of your salespeople has it dominant in their mind, will cause them to say something like this: I know I want to prospect today. By the way, that's motivation. I want to prospect today. That's motivation from the SPQ. Again, prospecting motivation. I need to prospect today. That's prospecting goal level. But, and as soon as they say the word but, all they do is insert one or more of those 12 different negative, somewhat debilitating patterns of negative thought. And now all of a sudden it makes sense for them not to prospect today. It sounds like this: the most common form of fear that your people have, by the way, is called yielder. Yielder is a salesperson who has a fear of reaching out to a prospect because they think if they do that, that prospect is going to think of them as being too pushy, too bothersome, too intrusive, too forward. So it sounds like this. I know I need to call Mr. Smith. I want to call Mr. Smith, but I just called him 2 days ago. I don't think I've given him the opportunity to really listen to my voicemail so he can respond to me. So, even though I thought it was a good time to call Mr. Smith today, and I thought today was a good day to follow up with him to see if he's interested, I'm not going to do that because the last thing I want to do is to be too pushy. Last thing I want to do is to be too forward. The last thing I want to do is to call him out of the blue and intrude. So you know what? I think it makes more sense to reach out to him next week. That's how these 12 negative themes of dominant thought impact the behavior of your people. So yielder is just one of 12. So there are 12 specifically defined patterns of negative thought that will cause your well-intended sales personnel to delay the client engagement process. Then it becomes a pattern, and then it becomes a pattern of mediocrity. So the SPQ GOLD measures prospecting motivation, prospecting goal level, prospecting goal diffusion, and also measures how did your performer, how did your producer, how did your salesperson fare in these 12 critically important themes of dominant negative thought that can keep them invisible to people that can buy from them.